Yo, what's up? It's your boy Philly Dark One for more Hip Hop News TV, and we gotta get into something real deep on this one. Y'all read the title of it. Yeah, XXXTentacion Killers is talking, and they talking a lot, and they looking for a new appeal, and they dragged a name into it, and the name that we all know that's been in the news lately for whatever, everything. Him just being Drake and being sensitive about how the whole battle ended and how his feelings got hurt and he want to scorch the earth. But this is totally different. Somebody died. A man lost his life. XXXTentacion lost his life. And if we go back in the time when this murder trial first started, the boy name came up. Drake name came up in this, but everybody ignored it. Wasn't nobody paying attention. And now it's coming back around full circle. And it's kind of weird the way it's coming back around at this present time, especially what Drake is doing with the industry, how he's coming out on attacking the industry and pulling back the curtains on what they've been doing using bots. And the sad thing about that is all the artists use bots. They all do it. This ain't nothing new. This been going on for years. All the artists use the bots to inflate their numbers when they first come out for the selling week so they can get the numbers up and it look good. It look like it's a big hit and it'll push it on through and they'll get the plays and all that. And Drake noticed. Drake used this. This is nothing new. This is nothing new to the industry. Everybody know about this. But now Drake feel as though since he's been hurt by it, you know, it's not benefiting him, it's hurting him because Kendrick Lamar, they used it on his song, attacking Drake, and now he's screaming foul and want to scorch the earth. But with that being said, besides that, this is XXXTentacion murderers coming back saying they want a fair trial. They don't feel like they got a fair trial because it was a name brought up that nobody is looking at. And they talking about Aubrey. Aubrey, they coming for you, Aubrey. Man, and this thing is really sinister, y'all. Let's jump into this without further ado. This your boy Philly Dark One for more hip hop news. Don't forget that hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, y'all. Come on, y'all viewing this. Come on, it's your boy working. I'm putting in the work. I'm giving y'all the stuff. I'm giving y'all the goods. Let's get this thing popping, y'all. All right. Let's go.
Essential part of that crime. When you went to spend that blood money on sneakers and jerseys, you revealed to the court the value you place on the human life that was taken.
One of the men convicted in the 2018 murder of rapper XXXTentacion is now appealing his conviction, and his legal team is focusing a lot of their attention on a major celebrity, Drake. We are going to explain the connections and the arguments as we sit down with Mauricio Padilla, the attorney for the convicted killer, Dedrick Devon Williams. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
Yo, so shout out to Sidebar, man. They be getting to it. They give you all the facts, all the juicy pieces. They get at it. Shout out to them, man. And Jesse Weber doing this thing on Sidebar. You know, after y'all watch this, go over to Sidebar and look at the whole story without interruption and just peep how they break everything down, all the information that's coming out about this case that now they're looking into after the fact. After all these guys got found guilty and they got life in prison, now they coming for Aubrey. Aubrey, they coming for you, dog. Yeah, man.
Dedrick Devon Williams, who's behind bars for life for murdering rapper XXXTentacion, is now appealing his case, his conviction, his sentence on the grounds that he did not receive a fair trial. And this is in part due to what his attorneys say is the exclusion of evidence that pointed the finger or maybe pointed the finger at other people. And one of those people whose name has come up is rapper Drake. So I want to quickly get you up to speed on this case before we get into these new allegations, these new
Aubrey.
Maybe they're not necessarily new if you break down this case. So
don't look good, Aubrey.
3 men, including Williams, were convicted and sentenced to life in prison for the 2018 killing of the star rapper. And to be more precise, they were convicted of first-degree murder and armed robbery in connection with the shooting death of the 20-year-old artist whose legal name was Jose Onfroy. Now, the jury deliberated a lot. They deliberated for a little more than 7 days before returning a guilty verdict. This was for Michael Boatwright, Dedrick Williams, and Trayvon Newsom. Now, this murder occurred on June 18th, 2018, outside of Riva Motorsports. It's a motorcycle dealership in Deerfield Beach. It's a suburb of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And XXXTentacion had just withdrawn $50,000 in cash from the bank. He was leaving the store with a friend when his BMW was blocked by an SUV. In fact, surveillance footage from the scene actually captures this shocking moment as two masked gunmen, later identified as Boatwright and Newsom, emerged from the vehicle, confronted the rapper at his driver's side window. There is a brief...
It's crazy because they commit crimes in broad daylight now. Back in the day, it was like people would, think twice about doing it in broad daylight. They wait till nightfall because, under the cloak of the darkness, they can move and do their seedy things. Not anymore. People don't care, man. The devil is among us, and he doing his thing. He don't care what time of the day he get his deeds done. Let's get back into it. Aubrey?
But very violent exchange with one of the men shooting XXX repeatedly. Afterwards, they snatch a Louis Vuitton bag containing the cash that the rapper had just withdrawn, and they speed away in the SUV. Williams was accused of being the driver of that SUV. And the friend, by the way, who was with XXXTentacion during that attack wasn't injured, but he witnessed the murder. And the jury's deliberation was lengthy, but ultimately they concluded that the evidence presented by the prosecution was sufficient. Let
me tell y'all something, man. If y'all getting stuck up for any reason or another, give it up. Don't fight for that stuff, man. Y'all can get that money back. That money will come back. You can get it back. You can get a return on anything that you lose, your house, your car, your rings, your jewels, whatever. But you can't get a return on your life. Give it up, man. Don't fight for that petty that bullshit that you can get back. You can't get your life back. Once it's done, it's done. Man, get that stuff up, man, and live to see another day, y'all. But let's get back into it. Aubrey!
Under reasonable doubt, enough to convict all three defendants. And that evidence included the surveillance footage. It included cell phone videos of the defendants flashing cash right after the shooting. It included incriminating text messages from Boatwright, including one right after the shooting saying, "Tell my brother I got money for the new phone." And then, just minutes after that, sending in a separate text message a news article about XXX getting shot.
Man, they had so much evidence in this case. It was crazy. Like, these boys were so sloppy. They just was careless, sloppy, and could give a damn. They just wanted to do their deeds and just go to jail. Basically, that's how much evidence was left behind in this. But let's get back into this.
And I also have to mention the key testimony of the trio's accomplice, Richard Allen, who claimed that he was a part of this robbery and he implicated the defendants. He pled guilty to second-degree murder for his role in this killing. Hey, so before we jump into this story, I have something I gotta tell you about. I host and executive produce a show called Crime with Jesse Weber, and now it is launched on Spotify. Yes, you can listen on the go. And this show puts a spotlight on those really shocking, infamous, controversial crime stories. We go from beginning to end, from the 911 call to the verdict. We go through body cams, police interrogations, interviews with the players in the case. We want you to have a full understanding of the story from all sides.
I told you these boys break things down.
On Spotify right now. Just click the link below and in the description. Now, as I mentioned, Williams is appealing this decision, and a big focus of this is on Drake. It's also other issues that they're bringing up, so I want to get into it.
Did y'all hear that? Drake, the rap artist, not the fullback, not the running back in the NFL. Drake, the rapper. His name has come up too many times in the death of XXXTentacion, and something needs to be said for that. Aubrey!
Now, and for that, I want to bring on Williams defense attorney Mauricio Padilla. Thank you so much for coming on, Mauricio. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you for coming on right afterwards. So I wanted to talk about this with you, and we're going to get into more specifics of the appeal. But overall, big picture, big theme, what are you and the rest of the defense counsel arguing here?
Well, I am not arguing it. I'm not his appellate attorney. I was the trial counsel, so I'm just referencing what Mr. Matanzo, which is his appellate attorney, has stated in the brief. There is so many errors that it takes a while to even break it down. One of the main errors in my opinion in the case, which I had to sit through, argue, and live it, was the fact that in December of 2020, I filed a witness list. The state's reaction to that was to file a motion saying, we want the court to strike all of his witnesses, that's not even something that's legal or that you could do. You have to itemize who you want stricken. You just can't shotgun approach and say, I want all of his defense witnesses stricken. But the state attorney did that. In a hearing that I had to defend, myself to that in that motion, the court didn't grant that, but the court instructed me to file a pleading, which was the nexus in my defense witnesses and what nexus they had to my theory of defense, which I argued was inappropriate because at the end of the day, you're ordering me to give the state a blueprint of what my defense is going to be. But I was ordered to do it, and I did it. When prior to
I was skeptical in the beginning too, but I mean, it's real.
It is worth every penny and then some.
Mr. Onfroy, which I'll refer to him as X for this interview because his stage name was XXXTentacion, which was the victim in this case. Prior to him being murdered, he had posted on Instagram, if anybody kills me, I'm snitching right now, it's champagne poppy. I'm paraphrasing, but something to that effect, right? So,
wow.
Imagine.
Wow. Did y'all hear that?
Said prior to his death.
Did y'all hear that? If anybody killed me, it's champagne poppy. Drake. That's crazy. That's crazy. Triple X said this. Tentacion. He said, if anybody kills me, he basically put it out there. If anybody takes my life, look at Drake. Does anything more need to be said? And the man was murdered. I think he made that post, a day before his murder? Yipes. Aubrey!
If anybody kills me, it's champagne poppy, which is Drake's Instagram name. I laid out in extreme detail all of my defense witnesses list, which included many rappers, because at the end of the day, the victim in this case was a rapper. He had feuds, ongoing public feuds with not only Drake, but a lot of rappers that are either signed to OVO or related to Drake in some way, including 600 Breezy, which is a Chicago-based rapper, and a rapper that's from Toronto by the name of, he goes by Top 5, which is Hassan Ali.
Whoa, did y'all hear that? All y'all Drake hang-ons, y'all know Top 5. He just got out of jail for beating a murder rap. His name came up in 600 Breezy. Things is getting real sticky. Pause. Things is getting real shady and seedy. I mean, y'all tell me. Y'all hearing it for yourself. Y'all see it for yourself. And this in the court of law. These names have come up. Let's get back into it. Aubrey!
And I had to lay that all out in detail. The court was fully aware of my theory of defense. Prior to that, I filed a motion to perpetuate the testimony of Livingston Allen, which goes by the name of DJ Academics, because DJ Academics was friends with X and had posted long YouTube, content regarding this beef. He actually posted YouTube saying that he was on the phone with X discussing the issue and the beef that he had with Drake, and specifically, X had either said or posted something about Drake's mom, and he had posted a picture of a Drake lookalike with semen on his face, and he wanted DJ Academics to post it on his own site, and he said, I'm not going to do that. And in that conversation, DJ Academics says that you better be careful because even though, and I'm paraphrasing again, even though he's not a gangster, you may be pushing him. As a reaction to that conversation.
Wow. Did y'all hear that? Now, DJ Academic's name came up in this. I didn't know that. That's the first time I'm hearing that. Now, I watched this prior to me doing this. I never heard them speak on DJ Academic's name. And it's not weird to hear that, because we all know, we watch YouTube, we know who's the biggest cheerleader to Drake. Academics. This is wow. This is revelations to me. Wow. Aubrey?
X goes and says that he takes it out off the post off of his website or off of IG, and he says that his Instagram was hacked. I laid that out in my motion to perpetuate the testimony, which a motion to perpetuate testimony is when you have a witness.
And all this stuff come up in court, y'all. All this stuff is coming up in court. Wow. I don't know if is it just me that this thing is mind blowing and mind bending with everything that's going on with Drake right now. Do you really think he need this to be caught up in a murder trial? Because the murder trial already took place. The shooters already got found guilty. But like I said in the beginning, these shooters is like, we ain't going down by ourselves, dog. We got life. And niggas, what? Y'all can't give me nothing for life. Y'all can't give me a bag for my life. We ain't signed up for the life part. We ain't know we was going to get caught. And here we are. Like, come on. Aubrey, don't look good, baby.
That is relevant to your defense and that lives beyond the jurisdictional limits of the court, and that you feel that you're not going to be able to bring them into court. So I'm basically asking the court to allow me to go to California or wherever I have to go, depose this individual, and now with his deposition, if he doesn't show up, I could use it in my defense or in my case in chief, right? So I did that, argued it to the court, and the court, in a reaction, basically said, I'm not going to grant your motion to perpetuate testimony, just take his depo. Let's just take it. So, okay, fine. I set a notice of hearing, went and served Drake in his castle in Beverly Hills.
There's something that you mentioned that I want to talk about this. So first of all, there was this deposition that was taken of XXXTentacion's mother, Cleopatra Bernard. She testified that Onfroy had this ongoing feud with Mr. Graham, Aubrey Graham, Drake. She said this feud with Graham included throwing shots at Onfroy and lyrics from one of Graham's songs. You mentioned that controversial statement that he made, if anyone tries to kill me, it was Champagne Poppy. The question I want to start with as we get into the Drake conversation, were you arguing, or his appellate attorneys arguing that Drake was a part of this killing, that he was the one who did this, or are you arguing that it should have just been allowed, you should have been allowed to present evidence to suggest there were other potential leads that law enforcement really didn't look at into this case? So again, what are exactly we suggesting? Are you suggesting that Drake had a part in it, or that just he wasn't looked into and it chose a sloppy investigation and not a fair trial?
Well,
all the above.
In the brief and in what I was arguing in court is the latter. We are a defendant has every right to defend himself and to show reasonable doubt wherever it may be, and to fully investigate and articulate to a jury an alternate shooter defense or an alternate, a defense where someone else, committed this crime. Am I going to sit here and tell you that Drake was holding a gun or Drake? But the facts, as they are stated by X's own mother, is that she knew about the beef with Drake and with Migos. She knew about the violence between Migos and her son, where there was a violent episode. She knew about 600 Breezy, which is a known admitted gang member from Chicago, going to South Florida and posting on social media saying that he's blicked up, which means that I have a gun, and she was concerned about it. She testified in the depot that she discussed it with her son. She testified that the reason that she wanted additional security with him the day he died was because of this beef with Migos and everything that we're discussing.
Migos.
So it was relevant.
Now that's another twist. Migos' name is in this. Wow. Yo, this thing got more twists and turns than a freaking bike drive. Come on, y'all. Like, what the hell? The Migos? The Migos? Wow. That's wild. I don't know about y'all, but this is some startling news for me. The Migos? That's crazy. Let's get back.
For many months during the trial, January, February, even February 7th of 2023, the judge is agreeing with me. Okay, now there comes a moment and a hearing. He goes ahead and Drake hires after the judge enters a rule to show cause, basically saying a purge date. You have to appear for depo on this day, or I'm going to do a writ of bodily attachment. He then goes and hires Brad Cohen, a friend of the show, friend of mine as well, an excellent attorney, and Brad files several motion to quash the subpoena, and he files a motion for protective order. We go back and forth, and the judge says, and the first time that Brad shows up to court, he says, you know what, I'm gonna quash the rule to show cause. He's hired counsel. You guys can communicate and figure out when this step was gonna happen. Okay, so we go back and forth. We can't agree to it for various reasons, and I'm not going to get into settlement negotiations on the show, but we can't agree. We go into court February 24th, I believe, on his motions. At that time, James Beard, which is the process server that served Drake, appeared as a witness, and I wanted to show video that he took of the actual attempted service where it shows Drake's bodyguards or the people that are in front of his house refusing to cooperate. It showed one of Drake's employees kicking the subpoena down the road that leads to his mansion. And the judge didn't allow me to show that. Despite not allowing me to put forth that evidence, the judge did a 180 from telling me to figure it out, coordinate it, take the depo, did a 180, told me, why are you involving him? Granted the motion for protective order. Granted the motion to quash my subpoena.
Wow.
Allowed Mr. Cohen to argue California law without having a California expert there, and basically kind of chastised me about why are you bringing them into it. And as a matter of fact, he even we had taken the deposition of one of X's relatives.
He said chastise him. The judge chastised him for bringing Aubrey's name up in this case when all this evidence is coming out. But y'all have yet to see or hear this evidence. It's a lot of evidence, and y'all, to be honest, y'all really heard the evidence. Y'all heard about it in Drake's songs, but we haven't got to that yet. Just hang on. Let's get back into this. Aubrey, it's on, baby.
Regarding this beef, and she denied it, and the court said in open court, even his relative said that it didn't exist, and I said, yeah, well, she's lying because the whole world knows about this beef. So for her to sit here and say that she didn't know about it it's on her credibility. So despite all of this, he does a 180. He not only grants the motion for protective order, basically saying that I can now serve him again.
Okay.
And quashes the subpoena, but the state attorney, sensing there's blood in the water, says, Judge, I'm going to renew my motion to strike all his witnesses. Okay? Or tennis, no notice. And he says, I'm not going to do that, but I am going to strike Mr. Graham. So he struck in the middle of the trial. He struck Drake from my witness list, which is completely inappropriate, considering the history of the case.
Wow.
Talk to me real quick about why you think the judge did this, because in the appellate brief, and correct me if I'm wrong, there is an accusation that the court might have been biased because of Drake's celebrity status. Correct me if that allegation is wrong. And in your opinion, why do you believe the court ultimately wouldn't allow the deposition of Drake?
I'll say that Judge Uson was a complete gentleman to me, and it was a pleasure to try the case in front of him. I do think that he made various reversible errors, and I think from the beginning he made a lot of calls that were unconstitutional, not legal, this being one of them. I don't want to speculate as to why, but when you're dealing with someone like Drake, which he's not a celebrity, he's a super celebrity. He's like in the stratosphere of fame. So when a judge does a 180 like that, I'll let the viewers or other people figure out why they think that it happened. But I'm not gonna speculate as to why it happened. But
no, I get that. I do want to ask you about this because this is another part of the appeal. And that is with respect to the testimony of this gang expert, which was excluded in a pretrial hearing. And the defense, my understanding, wanted to call Jesse De La Cruz, who they had claimed, discovered visual evidence that Drake could have had ties to the same organization as a co-defendant in this case, Robert Allen. And I believe the brief states, Dr. Cruz's research revealed photos of Mr. Graham throwing the same gang signs as Allen.
What?
And Allen is that accomplice who I mentioned.
Gang signs? Drake throwing gang signs? Have you ever seen Drake throw up gang signs? That's just a piece of it. Let's get back into it. Aubrey!
Testified against his co-defendants, but Cruz also revealed that people who knew Drake were allegedly seen in XXXTentacion's neighborhood threatening him before he died. The brief reads, social media posts showed these same known Graham associates were seen in Envoy's neighborhood threatening him just prior to the murder. And then they say even more revealing.
Like, what kind? This is groundbreaking evidence. How does judge then allow this in? And don't think it's over. There's more. Listen to this, y'all. This is crazy. Did y'all not hear that, what he said? These people were in XXX neighborhood before he died. And I know all his fans like, yeah. Like this is what we've been protesting. But the world didn't know. The world didn't hear this stuff, and they're hearing it now. Damn, that's crazy. Let's get back into it. Aubrey!
Is this connection that Cruz made to Drake's song lyrics? Because shortly after XXX was killed, the brief writes, Mr. Graham released a song entitled XXX with suspicious lyrics. SMS XXX, that's the only time I shot below the neck. And Dr. Cruz found another connection between the murder and Drake's lyrics in the song I'm Upset. The song I'm Upset contains lyrics regarding Louis bags for body bags. The implication there being.
And we all know that XXX had a Louis bag with his money in it when he was murdered on the day that he was killed. Come on, y'all. Come on. Like, if that's not enough evidence to bring Aubrey to trial, what is? Damn. I mean, it don't take a rocket scientist, man. Stevie Wonder over in his mansion, like, I could see this clear as day. Come on, y'all. Wow. Damn. This is crazy. But let us continue. Aubrey!
Drake was referencing murder, but ultimately Cruz was completely excluded from the trial, and the jury did not hear any of his findings. Mauricio, I have that right. And can you emphasize that a little bit more? Can you explain that a little bit more? Yes.
Okay. So Dr. De La Cruz did proffer to the court everything that you stated regarding the song lyrics, the fact that Drake was throwing gang signs that were the same gang signs that Allen was throwing up in different social media posts. The court strikes Dr. De La Cruz, which is a known gang expert and well known in his field, has testified over 150 times in trials. They allowed the state to put their own gang expert, Detective Polo, which really bolstered a lot of what Dr. De La Cruz said regarding the necessity to bring out this testimony. I don't believe that based on Daubert, which is the case that we look at when analyzing whether an expert if it's appropriate for an expert to testify, I don't believe that was a legal call. I think it was error for him to do that and not allow us to put forth that testimony.
Wow.
And we put up pictures of Drake with Lil Wayne throwing up a Bloods gang sign and other evidence that Drake is out there flaunting gang ties. We put forth evidence of Hassan Ali, which is top 5 out there openly claiming on social media and video that.
Yo, I gotta stop it right there. Whew, that's a lot. That's a lot. It's so much that I'm gonna do a part 2 to this, y'all. because we getting deep into these numbers at this time right now, and I'm going to cut this off right now. Yo, man, subscribe to the channel. Y'all see what the boys doing. I'm here digging up the info for y'all, bringing it to y'all, and I'm going to keep going harder with this because I feel like, me personally, I lost 2 brothers that was murdered. And I feel like when you commit a murder, I feel like it's a life for a life. Like, if I got a problem with somebody, we see it with the hands. Like, we going at it with the hands, but I'm not killing nobody unless you try to take my life. And I do know, we all know that XXX wasn't trying to take anybody's life. He was trying to go buy a bike. The boy took $50,000 out the bank. He was just trying to buy a motorcycle that morning. He wasn't bothering nobody. He was minding his business, and his life was taken from him, stolen from him. And they got evidence that's pointing at Aubrey Graham, saying that, yeah, it's some blood on his hands, and it's obvious. Like, come on, man. We don't have to be rocket scientists to see this. Like, come on, y'all. Y'all heard this. This is coming from people at the court that he was fighting. This lawyer was fighting to get all this evidence in, and this judge wouldn't allow it. But now, full circle, we back at it. And Aubrey name is coming up in top 5. And we all know who top 5 is. If you don't know, top 5 is Aubrey Hitter, Aubrey Hitman. And he's out of jail. And he went to jail for allegedly murder, which he wasn't found guilty for. But come on, y'all. Hey, man, hit that subscribe button. The boy out here working. Subscribe to my channel. Hit the likes on this. Let's run this up. It's free to hit the likes, y'all. It don't cost y'all nothing. This is what we live off, the likes, y'all. So just tap that like button. And when you subscribe, don't forget to hit that bell. All right? It's your boy, Philly Dark 1 for more Hip Hop News TV. And I'm going to bring y'all part 2 to this. So stay tuned. All right? Peace.
Be with me. Papi, you know I want that.